Good to see all of you guys. Um, Let me give you a scenario, or let me ask you a question first and see if you guys can relate to this. Have you guys ever, can you lower the mic a little bit? Have you guys ever woken up to a place that you weren't familiar with? Have you guys ever had a situation like that? I mean, it's not a pretty situation to be in if you were ever in a situation like that. You're probably very intoxicated if you woke up in a place yet where you had no idea where it was. But any of you guys? Yeah, now all of you guys are going to raise your hand now, right? Okay. Okay, how about this? Let me add a situation. Let's say you woken up in a place that you had no idea. Can we turn on the lights too? And then the second part, let's say you were naked. Any of you guys? Now you really want to raise your, all right? I'm going to add a third caveat in it. Okay, so you have no idea where you're at. You're naked. And number three, you have no idea who you are. Okay, that sounds like a horrible situation, right? Hopefully, none of you guys have gone through something like that. But that's exactly what happened to Benjamin Kyle. Okay? Actually, that's not his real name either. But in 2004, in Georgia, he wakes up one day next to a Burger King parking lot, naked, beaten up, okay, like bruises all over his body, and he has no idea who he is. Okay. By the way, it's really funny because they named him Benjamin Kyle because like Burger King, like BK, and so they wanted to give him a name similar to that, so they just gave him this name. Okay, but he has no idea who he was. Okay. The crazier thing is, okay, they started like posting his like pictures on the newspaper to see if anyone would recognize him, but nobody knew who he was. And he was on like interview and he was on TV and he said one of the most difficult thing was nobody came and looked for him, right? Look for him. And that was the most difficult thing, right? Because he thought, like, how did I live my life in the past that no one is willing to come and say they even know me, right? The good thing is, in the end, he found out who he was. But about like 10 years later, he actually found out and found his real identity. The series that we're on is very similar to this man's story, which is we're all trying to figure out, okay, who we really are. Some of you guys, you might think, I know who I am. But specifically, we're going over why do we behave the way we do? And we're using a thing called Enneagram to figure out, okay, why do we behave the way we do? Why do we react the way we do? Why do we get angry or upset at certain things? We're trying to figure that out. A couple of question and answer, because a lot of you guys are asking me, and so I'm addressing some of these questions all at once, so I don't have to address it individually to you guys. All right, so let's do a Q&A. Number one, what's the purpose of Enneagram? So like I said, it's to figure out, okay, who you really are. Why do you behave the way you do? But the goal of Enneagram is two parts, which is number one, if you understand better who you are, and if you understand better why other people behave the way they do, you're going to be a lot more understanding. Okay? Like with eights, we talked about 3 weeks ago, right? A lot of eights are very aggressive in nature. And so you look at eight and you go, oh, they're just insensitive people. But you figure out, no, eights, they actually bond through aggression, through conflicts, right? That's the way they connect with people. And so the better you understand that, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your coworker, you understand, oh, they're not just being insensitive or mean, this is the way they actually connect, right? So you have a lot more compassion because you have a lot more understanding. Second part of the purpose of the Enneagram is to really understand all of us are lost, all of us are naked in certain ways, and we have to hear different things from God. Why? Because through the Enneagram, we see that all of us, we clothe ourselves differently. And so the way we hear things from God, that's why certain messages, you come out and you're like, that was a great sermon. And your spouse is like, that was all right. Right? And there's other sermons where you go, wow, this was great. And your other spouse was, not your other spouse, your spouse, hopefully not your other spouse. Your spouse says, yeah, it was okay. You see, it's because there's different ways it really touches us. Why? Because all of us are wired differently. All of us, we put on different clothes, okay, to cover our nakedness. And that's why Enneagram, for me, has been really, really powerful. Because when I know your Enneagrams, then I can really, really speak to you in the way that your heart really, really longs for, right? All right. Question number 2. Frequently asked questions. Can I be more than one type? Okay, that is no. Okay, some of you guys, you've already taken your test, and maybe the number of the test that you got, it was very similar, and you go, oh, I'm a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Right? I must be multiple types, and that's not the case. Okay, all of us, every single one of us, according to Enneagram, says 9 different types, and all of us have, of course, parts of that type. Okay. But there's one specific type that all of us gravitate towards. And that's kind of like our OS system, our operating system, which we operate in. Okay? So if you're new or you haven't been to church, or this is the first time you've been here when we're doing this series, if you want to know what your type is, okay, don't go right now. But we have a test right here. It's quite long. Okay? But take the test and you'll figure out if this is what your type is. But number 2, probably the better way, because the test is not 100%, if you want to know what your type is, listen to the sermon, and if today specifically, if this makes you uncomfortable, that's a very, very, very good sign that you're the type today. Okay? If you feel uncomfortable with every single Enneagram, then come and talk to me, and I'll assess you, okay? All right. Number 3. Why did you start with type 8? Okay, I started with 8, and then 2 weeks ago I did 9, and today, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to do 1. Okay, I'm going to do 1. Okay, why did I start with 8? Now, if you're asking this question, most likely you're a 1. Okay, we'll talk about why. Okay, because 1s, they have to have everything in order and structure. We'll talk about why. Okay, the reason why I started with 8, though, it's not just a random number. By the way. No, I was going to tell a joke, but it's okay. I'll just go on. Okay, it's because I was going to say I started with 8 because 8s are scary, but okay. Anyways, these numbers are grouped into 3 different parts. Okay, the first group is what we call the anger group or the gut group, and they're 8, 9, and 1. And then the second group is 2, 3, and 4, which is the feeling and the heart group. And then the next group is the fear or the head group, which is the 5, 6, 7. And that's why I started with 8, 9, and 1. Okay? What do you think I'm going to go over 2 weeks from now? That's what you think, right? But I might mix it up, okay? Today I just went with 1 because 1s get really upset if I don't go in order. So I'm going to go in order just for the 1s. And then after that, we'll see, okay? All right. So let's go over 1s. 1s are typically known as perfectionists, but I don't really like to use that term because I don't think every one of us are perfectionists to certain levels, okay? We are just perfectionists about certain things that we like, okay? So all of us, we like some order in certain things. And so I don't like to use the word perfectionist for 1s, but instead, the better way to understand 1s they are known as reformer, okay? Why? Because they basically, reformers, wake up, okay, when they wake up in the morning, they wake up and what do they see? They see wrong things, okay? They wake up in the morning and they think, these are all the broken things that I need to fix today, okay? So that's basically how they wake up. They walk around, they enter into church and they go, okay, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I got to fix this. I got to fix that. Oh, the carpet, the painting. Oh, I got to fix this. That's how they view life. They walk around and they go, I got to change things. I got to make this world a better place. Now, is that a great thing? That's an awesome thing. Okay, we need more reformers at our church because they're the ones who are really getting the work done. And so, number two, characteristics of type 1 is they're workers. Okay, because they see so many things that are broken and mistakes, they're always working. They're always like, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this. And so they get stuff done. Okay? Remember how we talked about the nines? Right? Nines, they're totally opposite from ones, right? Nines, they're kind of like, well, like, okay, that's fine, that's okay. Everything's fine. Like, I don't need, you see, but ones, no, they're like, no. There's a lot of mistakes. I got to get working. And so ones, typically, they're what we call workers. Number three, they're what we called the shoulders. Okay? Okay, they should all over the place. Okay? I know that sounded like a cuss word, but I'm using, I'm using the word should. Okay? They should all over the place. Okay? Why? Because for them, again, because they see a broken world or they see so many mistakes, they go around and they're always saying, hey, you shouldn't do this. Or hey, you should do this. You shouldn't do it like this. You should do it like this. Okay? So for them, okay, and this is where how ones think, and if you're like a spouse of one, okay, or a friend of one, you feel differently. Because ones, the reason why they're like, hey, you should do this, like you should do this, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, that's because they really want to help you. Okay? They want to make this world a better place. But the thing is, ones, if you're one here, you have to understand, you come off super critical. Okay, why? Because you're always nagging all the time. You're like, you can't do this, you can't do this. Oh, why are you driving like that? Okay? Because for ones, law, organization, it's very, very important. How dare you mess it up even more? I'm trying to make this world a better place. I'm trying to help you here. Okay? Okay, now stop pointing finger at each other, okay? And you see, that's why they're shedding all over the place. Okay? The problem is they're shedding over themselves as well. They're extremely critical towards you, but they're extremely critical towards themselves as well. So they're shedding all over the place, and they're shedding on themselves as well. Okay? So that's why we call them shudders. All right? So we need to figure out, okay? Because there are actually really good things about reformers. We need more reformers. Okay? But we need healthy reformers. Okay? So let's see. There's a song that's going to kind of summarize all of this. And this is what a one says. Hold on for a minute. Because I believe that we can fix this over time. And that every imperfection is a lie, or at least an interruption. You see, this is how they see the world. They wake up in the morning and they go, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this. There's so much imperfection. I wanna make this world a better place. Again, we need more people like that. I'm not saying perfect exists in this life, but we'll only know for certain if we try. And they try. They try. Once this tryingness, this endeavor never stops. It will just keep going and going and going. List goes on forever. By the way, if you know you're a one, if you like to make lists as well. List goes on forever of all the ways I could be better. Okay? You see, this is how they view their life. Is I got to fix this world. I got to make this world a better place. Okay? There's so many mistakes. Can we find someone like this within the Bible? Hey guys, we actually had some technical difficulties, and so I had to re-record the second half, and so this is what it is. So let's go to our story. Where we left off was we're trying to see if we can actually find the type 1 within the Bible, and so we're gonna actually come to Luke chapter 15, verse 1 through 3.
Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So we see three groups of parties here. We see Jesus, and we see two different people. We see the tax collectors who are so-called the sinners, and we see the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. These are the ones who are righteous. These are the ones who are right. These are the ones who are the type ones in this story, right? And they're basically saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! How come Jesus is not spending time with us? He's actually spending time with these wrong people." Okay, and Jesus actually, this is how he replies to the type ones, and this is why the story is very, very important for type 1s because we're going to see what type 1s really, really need to hear, the healing message. Then Jesus told them this parable. This is a very famous parable. It's called the prodigal son. But we're not going to be focusing on what most pastors typically focus on, which is the younger son. But we're going to be we'll see, we're going to be focusing on the other son. Jesus continued, "There was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of my estate.' So he divided his property between them." So if you don't know this story, basically the younger son comes and says, "Hey, Dad, I know when you die, you're going to leave a will for me and you're going to give me half of your property anyways. So, hey, I don't really feel like I'm going to, I don't think this is working out. Basically, let me have my half now so I can just, go away and do my own thing." And so we know the story of how basically the father graciously still gives him the half that uh, the son requests for. And so son actually goes out, he spends everything, wastes it, and he basically realizes, "Oh, what have I done? I've wasted my life, and now I realize I have nothing else but to go back to the father." Great, beautiful story. Now we're gonna skip all of that, and we're gonna actually go back to the part where the younger son actually comes back. And this is God's this is the father's response when the younger son does come back. "Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So they began to celebrate. This is from verse 23 to 24. Okay. So again, we see the father. He's excited. He's saying, "Hey, yes, my son has messed up. He has sinned against me. He has messed up. But hey, he has come back. There is forgiveness." And again, this is a beautiful, beautiful story that I feel like most of us, we could resonate with how we have gone away from God. But there is always forgiveness. But this is not for the type ones, right? Most type ones listening to this story, they're very uncomfortable with this story. They're like, "Okay, I don't understand. They just keep messing up, messing up, messing up. They're wrong." But, again, type 1, if you're a type 1, you're bothered with this story. But again, this is where we're going to get to the type 1s, okay? Verse 25 to 26. "Meanwhile, you see, the older son was in the field." Of course, the older one is in the field, right? We talked about how type 1s, they're always working, right? And so again, of course, the older one, when the younger one is partying and doing whatever, all these things, the older one, yeah, he's doing the right thing. He's doing the good thing. He's doing all the work. He's trying to make this world a better place. So of course, while everybody's having the party, the older son, what is he doing? He's in the field. He's doing good things. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. The old And after he hears this, he gets super duper angry. And this is what he says in verse 28. The older brother became angry, right? He became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. And this is one of the things that type 1s actually feel a lot. They feel a lot of anger and they feel a lot of bitterness. Why? Because they're trying so hard, right? They're working. They're trying to make this world a better place. And they see the other types, they're just messing around. They're having a party. They're spending money. And it's like, for once, it's like, oh, I'm the only one who's trying so hard to make this world a better place. Or even my family, or even my workplace, you know? But everybody just sees me as an angry person. Again, this is what happens a lot to type 1s. And this is what he says. He answered his father, "Look, All these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your order. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I can celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, come home, you kill the fattened calf for him. There's two things here, and this is, I think, really, really important. Because we see here, he actually becomes so angry, and you see that he was so bitter. He actually says, these things I've been doing, there's no joy in them. These things I'm doing, I resent it. Right? And this is what happens with a very unhealthy very unhealthy ones is they're doing the right thing, but they feel like when they see other people not appreciating them or noticing that they're doing the right things, they feel they start getting really bitter and they just feel like, and this is what he says. He's basically saying, I'm just a slave now. You see? These things, I'm not doing it because now I wanted to really, it just becomes a negative response now. And then, and then here, this is the really, really interesting part. He says here, but when this son of yours, you see what he says? He doesn't even say, when my brother, now he's not even a brother. Why? Because he doesn't even want to associate with someone, a so-called sinner or someone who messed up. Because again, type ones, they have to be perfect, right? They have to change the world. And when they see other people who are messing around and not joining their reformer vibe, they're like, no, forget it. They're not even worth human beings, right? This is your son, not my brother. Okay? Again, these are the negative traits uh, and the characteristics that we see of one. So what's really going on down here? Okay, why is it that ones they have to perfect the world? Why is it that they are so uptight, it seems? Why is it that they become so angry and bitter? Why is it that they become so critical? This is the lie, or this is the wounding message that ones basically have heard as they were growing up. We talked about how every single type, not just the ones, we all have different wounding message. And this is the wounding message for a one. This is what they heard. This is the lie that they believe in. You have to be right, or sorry, you have to be good and do things right to be loved or to belong. Kind of get it, right? Kind of see? For ones, goodness equals belonging, right? Or doing right things equals love. So if I don't do good things, if I don't do right things, I don't belong or I won't be loved. That's what the lie they believe inside. And that's why mistakes are unacceptable for them and for others. And that's why remember I talked about they're shedding all the time. They're, hey, you shouldn't do this. You should do this. Why? Because mistakes are unacceptable. You can't be loved if you're not good. You can't be loved if you're not right. People and things are either perfect or wrong. Again, this is what's going through a type 1's heart. And because of that, this is how they're functioning. So this is, let me kind of show you the progress or the lie and then how it shows up from the interior to the exterior, the progress. So they believe I'm only loved if I'm right or if I'm good or if I'm perfect. Therefore, I must always be right or good or perfect. Why? Because if I'm not right, if I'm not good, if I'm not perfect, then I cannot receive love from other people. So what do I try to do? If I'm a one, I'm going to try to change this world. I'm going to try to change my family. I'm going to try to change my workplace. I'm going to try to make this world a better place. Why? Because again, I got to show people that I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the good thing. I'm doing the perfect thing. But there's always anger. There's always bitterness. There's always resentment because a couple of things. When I see other people, they're never, they're not, if they see other ones, it's fine. But when they see other types, they're pretty upset. Why? Because they're not, kind of like the younger son. He doesn't deserve it. Or they get angry at themselves because they feel like they're not meeting their standards either. Or when things happen, and so Anger, there's a lot of resentment inside. This is from the same song. This is what it says. But the list goes on forever of all the ways I could be better. And this is exactly what ones always feel like, right? There's resentment, there's anger because they know, even though they want to be perfect, there's always something, right? This world is so broken. There's so many things to fix, and they know they try, but there's always something more, and that's why it's so tiring for ones. As if, and this is very important, right? As if I could earn God's favor given the time, or at least congratulations. And again, this is exactly what we see with the one. Right? One says, look at all this stuff I've did. I've slaved for you. Look at all this stuff I did. Okay? I've worked, I've slaved. The son did nothing to earn your love, but me, look at me. I've earned your love. You should be killing calf for me. You should be throwing a party for me, but no, 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 no. How come you're not acknowledging me? How come you're not loving me? Because why? Again, for once, you must earn it by being right, by being perfect. But you see, this is where the ones got it all wrong. This is, and that's why I say this is the lie that ones believe in, because this is not the gospel. This is not the Christian message. The Christian message is not, hey, you be right, everything's good. It's not God. This world was so perfect. You were so awesome that Jesus, had to come to save you because you were so perfect. No, that's not the gospel at all. Right? The gospel is actually, you're not perfect. You messed up. You're not right. You didn't do anything to earn God's favor or God's love. You didn't earn the congratulations, no matter how much you believe you did. You didn't. You failed. But because you're a sinner, even though you are a failure, that's why we need Jesus. Right? And so we're going to see the healing message for the one. And this is what the Father says. So the first thing that type 1s need to recognize here is here. Look here. The older brother became angry and refused to go in, so his father actually went out and pleaded with him. And this is what I'm trying to say, right? Before I talked about the gospel and how ones really need to hear the gospel. Because it is so easy for type 1s or the older brother to just see that, hey, younger brother messed up and he needs God, right? But you see, what we need to realize here, what the type 1s need to realize here is, yes, the father, absolutely, the younger son needs God. But type 1s, older brothers, you guys also need God as well. Why? Because we see in your anger, in your refusal, in your bitterness, what happens? Right here. His father went out and pleaded with him. You see, God goes out not only to the younger brother, but also to the older brother as well. And this is exactly what Jesus was trying to tell the Pharisees. When the Pharisees are like, whoa, Jesus, you're hanging out with the sinners, these horrible people. And God is saying, whoa, don't you realize you need me as well? Don't you realize you're just as lost as well? And so we normally some people actually say, oh, there's only one lost son in this story. But actually, that's a misnomer because there's actually two lost sons. Right? We know that. Why? Because we see God, or the father here, actually goes out to both the older and the younger son. And so that's one of the things that ones really need to recognize, because ones, it's really easy for ones because they're always comparing other people and they always feel like they're doing the right things. It's really easy to get self-righteous, right? It's really easy to say, I'm doing good thing and you guys all suck. But it's to understand, no, I actually need Jesus just as much. Because if they're really honest, if type 1s can be really honest with themselves, they realize that they're not perfect either, that they're messing up too. And that's why they're so hard on themselves. And they know that deep down inside. But you see, it's the lie. It's the lie that's like, oh no, I could earn it. I could earn it. I could earn it. And no, you can't. You can't earn it. You need to realize it's God who comes out. And so you need to recognize that you are lost as well. And there's two things that's really important. And this is what type 1s really, really need to hear. The first one, he says, is my son. And I know in English, my son, it doesn't seem, like, well, okay, my son, what's so important about that? But in the Greek, it actually says teknon, which actually means child, which is basically like in our vernacular, like for English, it's more of like, it's like sweetheart. It's like I wrote it down somewhere. It's like honey, right? So it's an endearment term, right? It's not just saying, "Oh, you are my biological son," but it's like, "Hey, honey, hey, sweetheart," right? It's God is basically saying he's being very sweet with him. He's not being critical and say, "Hey, man, how come you're saying you're slaving over?" He's not there to argue, right? God is saying, "Hey, child, hey, sweetheart, hey, you're always with me, and everything I have is yours." Basically, what God is saying is, "Hey, ones, what you're saying is true, right? Because let right, if you look at it technically, half of what you see, the things that the father has right there at this for the story, everything is his, right? Everything he has is his. You see, the reason why they were even able to have, keep a house, and the younger son able to even come back to this house was because of the one, because one is working so hard. And so here we see that father is actually acknowledging that the ones are actually doing a good thing. Okay, again, I know we talked about a lot of the negative things about one, but there's a lot of good, positive things about one, which is, yeah, this world is a broken place, and we need more ones in this world. We need that. Okay, the whole point of the gospel or Christianity and about Jesus coming back is he's coming back to restore this world. No more tear, no more death. Why? Because all of these things are not good. So, yes, absolutely, right? You're right, ones, that we need to make this world a better place. Absolutely. But yet, the Father also says, you have to understand, you're doing a good thing, you're doing the right thing, but, and this is where the but is, right? He says, but we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours, and you see, when, and this is so beautiful because when the older brother, when he got angry, he says, no, this son of yours, but you see, God actually says, no, 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 he's not just son of mine, he's your brother. He's someone that you also should love as well. You see, when this brother of yours was dead and is alive again, he was lost and is found. Yeah, this is so beautiful, right? Because he's saying it's so easy for you because you could do the right thing, but if that becomes your identity, if that becomes a way for you to earn salvation, then you're always going to be separated from people, right? You're never going to see people. You're always going to be comparing yourself with other people. And so you're always going to be like, I'm the right person, and you're just piece of crap or piece of trash. And it's so easy to just get bitter or easy to become arrogant, right? And God is saying, no, 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 no. You see, you got it all wrong. You have to understand, you're doing the good things, but that's not how you earn salvation, right? I already love you. I have come here because you're imperfect, but you're doing the right thing. But you have to understand, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to save people. We're trying to make people who have messed up, and we want to transform their life as well. So if you see that, then you could use this beautiful energy that you do have, this gift that you do have, instead of saying, I'm going to use because again, we need more ones, we talked about, because ones have this beautiful gift of knowing what to fix when a lot of people don't, right? Again, we need that. But if you're using that, God is saying, if you're using that to say, that's how I earn God's love, then again, that's only going to lead to anger and bitterment. Instead, you say, no, God has already loved me. I'm already a failure. I already messed up. But God has already forgiven me and loved me. Now I can use the things, the skills that I do have to actually help people come back to the Father. And so we can celebrate together. Again, this is the beautiful, beautiful message of Christianity and Jesus and the gospel. And this is what the ones really need to hear. So this is the healing message for the ones. Again, this is going to be very difficult, but this is what ones need to hear. You're imperfect. You're imperfect. You have to accept that. It's okay. I know it's very difficult to hear that if you're a one. You're imperfect, but you're worthy of love and belonging. You're imperfect, but you're worthy of love and belonging. Really need to hear that from Jesus. Okay? If you're one, spend some time hearing that. You need to put this all over the mirror, right? All over your house. You're imperfect, but you're worthy of love and belonging. And once you do that, man, like I said again, we need more ones in this world. We need ones to help us fix things, do the right things, keep the house in order. We definitely need that. But remember, that's not how you earn your worth of love and belonging. No, you already have that from Jesus. So, my prayer for you this week is that you're able to really, really hear this from God and that let that transform your life.